Hey guys, thanks for tuning back in this week to my blog. I'm going to actually go over, again, I've kind of typed out some of the things, and I'm going to go a little bit more in depth of things that the beginning guitarist should actually keep, not be wary of, but, just little insights and information to try to optimize what our learning experience is going to be when we're starting off to play. Really kind of, you can go with any instrument on this, but I'm going to be a little bit more biased and gear a lot of this stuff actually towards guitar, of course. But first thing you want to do, if you're just buying the guitar or actually getting like a hand-me-down guitar, you want to make sure you take it somewhere and actually get the action set up on it. Just set up all together. Start off with a new set of strings, just everything you could possibly do to make it better playing for yourself. The biggest thing going to be the action, the actual strings of the guitar, coming off the neck. The higher they are, the harder it's going to be actually to play. For somebody, like me or somebody, experienced players, that it's not that bad. Some people, actually myself, like a little higher action on it. But for the beginning guitar player, you haven't really developed some of the muscles for, say, such as like bar chords, that type of thing, to actually be able to press down on those strings to get, the best sound of it. So you're going to get a lot of mutes, a lot of discouragement out of it. So the lower you can get the strings to the guitar neck, a lot better it's going to be to play. So that's one of the first things you want to actually do when you're first starting off here. Some stores will do a little truss rod adjustment or something like that. Most actually kind of charge. If you want to do a full-blown setup, then it takes a little bit more time, so they're going to charge you for it, that type of thing. But needless to say, just get it done however you get it done. One of the other things that is just pivotal for any student is practice. I tell my students right when they start off that I am a tool. I'm not going to be at home with them and that type of thing, hitting them on the wrist when they don't practice. So it's actually their motivation to, get into it during the week and sit down, practice, and get used to playing the instrument. They come to me at the end of the week and we address any issues that they had within that time frame of them being able to practice, and we cover those, and I make sure that they've studied everything that they need to study, and then go ahead and further any more stuff, like more scales. I go ahead and give them more content to actually practice for the next week. So I do give them somewhat of a homework assignment. That way it's giving them something that they have to get done before the next lesson. So you definitely want to have some kind of incentive, and I try to give them something along the way to push them during the week. But in the end, it's up to them. So it's up to you to go home and actually do your practicing. You're not going to get anywhere if you don't practice. So just because you take lessons doesn't mean that you're going to be a better guitar player. You have to go home, implement some of the things that we actually talk about in the class, and just get your teeth into it and just do it. I've got some students that have kids, they have full-time jobs, so they're really pressed for when it comes to time to be able to practice. So little things that I tell them is think about it. Think about what you're going to do when you get to your guitar and practice. Throughout the day, you can be visualizing scales in your head, humming a rhythm or tapping out a rhythm, or humming a melody, I should say, and tapping out a rhythm. Thinking about chord structures in your head. How do I form a C chord? Where are the root notes on the C chord? What's the scale that goes over that? Trying to visualize these things in your head while you don't have the instrument in hand. That when you get home and you've only got 15 minutes of practice, you've already kind of had some kind of practice previously within the day, and you can jump on the guitar and test yourself. Was I right when I said I visualized this in my head? Oh, no, I wasn't. So it just makes a little bit more use when you sit down with the instrument. You have some idea of being able to just jump right into something instead of sitting there for 5 minutes trying to figure out what you're going to practice. So definitely need to do that. Again, I usually say, practicing about 15 minutes every day versus saying an hour or 2 hours every other day. In the beginning, you're really wanting to look at consistency. You're wanting, muscle memory is really what you're looking at. The knowledge portion of it, a lot of people can see right off. They get that. But it's when it comes time to putting my finger here, putting my finger there, they don't really grasp the technical aspect of it. So you want to have your instrument in your hand as much as possible to get used to holding it, getting used to the feel of the strings, and making those chords. So it's muscle memory. It's making these little neurological connections, and after repetition, it's going to come natural to you. So we need to do it as much as possible. Playing slow. A lot of kids come in, and even adults, they'll go through a scale, or they learn the scale, or they went over a song or learn the song at home with the tabs, and they're trying to play it to the actual tempo right then and there. You don't need to do that. You need to break it down into little parts, little chunks, play it slow, play the next part, play it slow, and then you can start putting it together and start increasing your actual time on it. So it gets faster with progression. If you're going to go through a scale, say you learn a major scale, we'll throw it in A real quick, and you should be practicing it one note at a time, playing it slow, not playing the next note until you know where that note's at underneath your fingers, and then move on to the next. So we can go. So we've got that played. Instead of trying to go through it, trying to do it like that, you're going to mess yourself up every single time. So you go slow, get the notes, get the pattern underneath your fingers and in your mind, being able to visualize it. Then you can start working on getting faster. Metronome is going to be a plus, and then having an instructor, a teacher, is going to show you how to use that and how to use that to the best, as you possibly can within your practices to actually make the practice session or working on your scales, better. So definitely want to practice slow. Don't worry about it. You're going to get faster. You're not going to get any worse than what you were when you weren't playing guitar. So you're only going to get better. So just try to make the best of it and just play slow. Not really controversy, but to talk about this real quick, some people, are like, well, I can just teach myself with DVDs and online courses and that type of thing, and that's cool, and yes, you can. But you have to be real realistic with yourself. You're going to get to a point to where you are plateaued. That's the word for it. You're not getting any better. You're not seeing things as quickly as you did when you started off, with your online instruction or your DVD course. So be honest with yourself, and when you actually get to that point, the only thing, and probably the best thing that's going to help you out is, one, take lessons. Whether it's just one lesson or, learning something from somebody that can actually interact with you, then that's going to progress your playing a lot more than just continuing on with the frustration of the DVDs and such. So you definitely want to take lessons. I'd rather much better, take lessons and learn to play everything right than to have some kind of ego trip built on that I taught myself. Well, look what I can do, and I taught myself. That's fine, but you could have progressed so much better had you taken lessons in a short amount of time frame also. So that's my insight on that. And you're never too good to take lessons. I take lessons, so it's not a big deal. A lot of people don't know, but Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, if you've ever heard of them, Steve Vai actually took lessons from Joe Satriani at one point. So it was a style that he was interested in, or a technique that he was interested in that Joe Satriani, knew about, or maybe just the theory. Well, he wanted to know that too, so he took lessons from him. I am getting on this little jazz kick, so I'm taking lessons from somebody who knows a lot about jazz. It only makes sense. So that's probably the best thing to do, is go to somebody who's been doing it, and they're going to be able to help you out a lot better than just, trying to read it out of a book. Nothing wrong with the book, but like I said, it's got its place. Also got information that Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers last year went to, or actually enrolled to USC, University of Southern California, if I'm not mistaken, in the music program. So there you go. He basically did a lot of his stuff, the recordings and albums and things, and when he played, just off of being intuitive and what sounded good to the ear. not really knowing a whole lot of what was going on underneath the instrument and why things were working and that type of thing. So you can never have too much money to take lessons, and you can never be too famous to take lessons. So, you might as well start taking them and improve your guitar playing. It'll do a lot for you, guarantee it. I was even self-taught for a while until I took formal instruction and then went on to school for it. So there you go. Another thing, if any of you guys have any questions about a certain technique or anything like that, feel free to shoot me an email or just send me a message on MI11. I'll be happy to try to work it into a blog, so maybe I can answer your questions via here. So maybe some kind of interaction, doing an online method. So just let me know, and like I said, any questions, I'll be happy to answer them out for you. All right, thanks guys. All right, bye.